Have you seen this effect before? Let me show you how it's made. These are a few examples of what we've created using a destructive product agent. It works great for gadgets, devices, and mechanical objects, but you can also experiment and push it further to see what else is possible. I'm going to walk you through how this agent works from start to finish and show you how to create this exploded effect quickly and easily without a complicated setup. Let's jump right into it. All right, so here we are on our agent. And all we really need is an image of whatever it is we want exploded. So I'm gonna go ahead and use an image of a Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm gonna drag that into the chat right there. And I don't even have to type anything. You don't have to put no prompts. You can literally just click down here on this arrow or just press enter. All right, so it analyzed the image and is telling you everything it sees. And then we're gonna go ahead and click on exploded image. And now it's going to generate the image for us. So we got some results here, and if you're happy with them, you can just roll with this. But there is a little trick you can do if you want the pieces inside to be a little bit more accurate to what's really inside of a Nintendo Switch or whatever device you are using. You can search online and try to find images where a device has been broken apart, or sometimes people will break apart a device and then lay all the pieces out and then take a photo of that. So in this case, I do have that. So let me show you what I found. So I found this online. As you can see, there's a bunch of pieces here and we can feed it this image. We could have done this from the beginning, but I just wanted to demonstrate the difference between giving it one image of the device versus two images of the device and the insides of the device. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this image into the chat right here. And I'm gonna let the agent know that I also wanted to look at this image as a reference image to know what's inside the device. So now I'm instructing the agent, use this image as a reference of what's inside the Nintendo Switch. I'm gonna press enter. And all right, and this is what it gave us. And as you can see, there are a few extra details that weren't there before, like this part of the controller right here. You see that it's right here. And some of these other things that are inside are a little bit more accurately represented. There's the image of the battery right there, and you can see the batteries there too. So there's a little bit more extra things in there that weren't accurate in the original image that we did. There are a few things that it did get right, but not everything. So if you want a little bit more accuracy, it might not be perfect. Like it won't be like exactly every single detail, but it's worth trying to make sure that you get a lot of those internal parts as accurate as possible if that's what you're going for. And also, if you're not happy with this, you can always retry and see what else is going to give you. So yeah, there's different ways you can do this. So like you can do different iterations. And this is the great thing. You can instruct the agent, hey, I want something completely different, a different angle, a different perspective. I want to correct something. So once you're happy with one, we want to let the agent know which one we've selected. So I'm going to click on here where you see this little quotation mark, and it's going to bring the link down here. And I'm just going to tell it, this is the approved image. Let's animate it. Once you're ready to animate, you're going to have three options, three different models that you can choose from. You have Hailuo version 2, you have Kling 2.5, you have C-Dance Pro 1.5, and they all do things differently. So with Hailuo, you get more precise controlled movement, but the limitation is that it's lower overall quality compared to Kling, right? So you got Kling, higher visual quality and more creative motion, can be slightly less precise and introduce creative variation. That's the limitation. Then you got C-Dance Pro 1.5, which generates sound, which could be great because when you have all these mechanical parts moving around and you don't have to do the sound design for that, I mean, that's going to save you a lot of time. And it produces more animated mechanical motion. And I'm going to show you examples of these right now. Limitation: movement is more stylized and less physically restrained. So earlier I generated 3 videos using the 3 models just so you can see the difference, right? This first one, let's try to guess what model it's using, right? Right? It's mechanical, it has sound, so it's going to be C-Dance Pro, which worked really well with this. I really like this one. Here, I'm going to just guess just by the way it animates. Okay, it's really smooth, and a hand comes in at the last minute. I'm gonna guess this one is Kling, and This one actually is not Kling. This is likely Hailuo. I would guess this one is Kling. The quality is way better. It's cleaner looking. So yeah, so that's kind of the differences between these. So you have these options. I think it just depends on what is it that you're working with. If it's very mechanical, I do like the way Seedance animates, and I love the fact that it has sound. But sometimes Kling gives you some really good results too. So I would kind of play around with those two mostly. And if you're still not getting good results, I would try kind of as last resort, I would try Hailuo. So here we have our generation. I had to iterate it because my first result didn't come out the way I wanted it. But this is going to give you an idea of how Seedance works. You're going to notice it right away. It moves really cool, right? Like, it's very mechanical. I like the way it moves. I love the sound effects. The sound effects are great. Right there, the colors changed, right? So I had to tell the agent, hey, can you make sure that the colors do not change? Don't change them to orange and like blue right here. So I think it just got confused because I think some of the Nintendo Switches have these colors and it just probably did it by default. So it might be wise to instruct it to keep it like the original image, right? It adds the sound effects for you. Here, after I did the iteration, it corrected it for me. And it's gonna animate slightly different, right? And yeah, so it did that. And right now I'm also generating with Kling 2.5 and Hailuo just to see the difference. Okay, we have Hailuo right here. Yeah, it's pretty smooth. It's not perfect. I would do a few iterations to get it just right, but it does okay. And then we have Kling right here. Let's check this out. Okay, it's doing a rotation. It's not very accurate, but it's very smooth nonetheless. So you have to instruct the agent, don't do a 180 spin, or ask it not to spin and just to keep it in place as it breaks apart. My favorite one so far has been Seedance, but this might not always work for you. You might want something a little bit smoother. So these are the options that are available to you. So my recommendation will be that you get the end frame, the exploded frame, just right. Get it to a place where you're happy first, and then you can start generating it with video. Because if you're not happy with the final frame, then the animation is just not going to work for you. So make sure that you have the final frame looking just like you want it, and everything else will fall into place, right? And then you can also keep going. You can have it like, let's say this one, for example. Let's say you really like this one, and just say, you know, click on here on this quotation mark. It's going to bring the link down here. So I'm going to tell the agent, can you extract the last frame of this, and let's have another image generated where there is a very tight close-up from a different angle. So it generated this for me, and I'm gonna go ahead and click on this little quotation and then this one, and just ask it, animate these using start and end frame. Let's go with Seedance. All right, so let's go ahead and test that. Oh, okay, that was a cool transition. However, I do not like how it keeps turning these into orange and blue controllers. This could be a Seedance issue, because I actually want to test it out. Try this with Kling and also with Hailuo. I believe this is a specific thing with Seedance, but we'll test it right now with Kling and Hailuo. So that's something to keep in mind. That's something that you have to start to kind of learn from each model. They all have different ways of doing things and the way it interprets and understands things. So with Seedance, I know that I have to be a little bit more specific with things, because then it could be, for example, since I already changed the controller colors before, I should always let it know not to change the colors every time I generate. So that's something to keep in mind with this model. All right, so let's check out Kling and Hailuo. All right, so let's check this one. This is Hailuo. Nice, not too bad. Okay, and this is Kling. All right, this one feels a little bit better just because the way it comes into, you know, this frame of where the screen is supposed to be at, just seems like it's just a lot smoother. Here, it feels like it kind of just warps into it, which is not as nice. But that's the thing about Kling, right? Again, these all have their strengths and weaknesses, and you just kind of have to figure out which one you want to go with and which one you're happy with. So this is the thing about models, that they are imperfect. There's only so much we can do to make the best results. So a lot has to do with the models themselves and you guiding them into the right direction. So this is how you use this. Since I really like this one, I'm gonna go ahead and say, select that one and say, I want this to be my second video. Can you get my first video and this video and stitch them together? My first video is the one I generated with Seedance. All right, so now let's check this out. Let's see how this turned out. All right, cool, very mechanical. And then it goes into this. Very cool. Yeah, and you can even say, hey, I want that to go a lot faster. So the only problem with this is that if you are using Seedance, it has audio, and if you speed it up, it's going to speed up the audio and it's going to sound weird. So just keep that in mind. If you do want to speed it up, you can do that. If you didn't want to have it transition into something different, for example, like you just wanted to have it open up once like this, right? You can either just reverse it normally, which is it's just going to reverse the clip, or you can generate it in reverse. So in this case, I'm just going to ask it to reverse it. Can you reverse this video? I should have asked it, can you reverse it and stitch it, so that it just does it all in one shot. All right, so here it is. It's playing forward, and then once it gets to the end, it's going to go back in reverse, and this time it doesn't have the sound. So that's a bit unfortunate. So that's one way you can do it. So you can get that clip and just reverse it and stitch it together, and it goes right back to the first frame. But if you really want the reverse effect to be a bit different of how it starts and not just like a reverse of the original video, then you can always do a generated reverse, which essentially just switches the first and last frame and generates that. The benefit of reversing the original clip is that it's free, and when you have to do it the other way, then you have to generate it using a video generating model. And just to show you what I mean by this, we have our reverse clip, right? All it is just reversing the original clip, which is fine, you know, but it could be kind of like plain and people can tell it was just reversed. But then you have this kind of reverse where it's doing like a little bit more unique movements going back into place, which is very cool too, right? You can do the normal reverse or you can do the generative reverse. So you have that choice. And that's how you use our destructive product agent to create this exploded effects. Go ahead and try it out for yourself and see what you can make. We've got a lot more tips and tricks coming your way, so stay tuned. Until next time, take care.